Hello everyone, I'm Calebkoyo and we are talking inflation today, and joining me on set to speak about this topic is none other than Brenda Viola from the Koyo. Brenda, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
You well?
How are you doing? I'm doing fine.
Good to see you again.
Again at this point, I'm going to complain too for a minute.
Yeah.
Where are the drinks?
They're still sorting that out. They're still sorting that out.
But it's also, it's amazing to be here again.
Yeah?
It's really amazing to be here
Nice.
again.
Inflation. You know, what comes to your mind when you hear the word inflation? Because nothing comes to my mind, and majority of the young people out here.
Yeah, true. Minute inflation, I hear inflation, the first thing that comes to my mind is money.
Money.
Higher expense of, higher cost of living,
Yeah.
higher cost of living standards.
Okay.
And people who are below a certain economic class are going to suffer a lot.
Okay.
And people who are higher, above that economic class are going to benefit. So,
okay, so who causes this? The people who are living above the dollar, or the people who are living below the dollar, making decisions that are making them stick right there?
you see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, the cause is almost unknown to
Oh,
some
yeah?
point, because it is the way things are. Like, things have been here, things have been like this since the 1980s.
Yeah.
Whatever we're going through is not new.
Okay.
The US go through it,
Yeah.
China goes through it. Basically, if you're a capitalist nation, then it is inevitable.
Okay.
So if there is a cause, then maybe capitalism.
Capitalism.
Yeah. Maybe
Okay.
pin it on capitalism.
Now, coming back to our beautiful republic, of course, we have a share of young people between the age of 15 to 35 who are not in education, not in employment, or not in training.
True.
And this percentage is at, like, I think around 16.9% or something like that. Now, to these people, are they feeling the effect of inflation because they're not working, they're not in training, and they're not in school as well?
Of course.
Meaning maybe most of the time they don't have money, or the little they have.
I like how you say that maybe they're not feeling it, because they are feeling it. It's just that they don't know what they're experiencing.
Okay.
When you used to buy milk at 50 shillings, now it's 60 bob. That is inflation in its own.
Shilingi mbili.
Yeah.
Right now it's 5 bob.
Exactly. So that is in inflation. Just because you don't really understand it doesn't mean you're not going to experience the effects. Yeah. So people are going through inflation. It's just that nobody knows what it is, and nobody understands what it is. Sometimes it's unfortunate that a lot of young people between those ages, you've said 15 to 35. Yeah, a lot of people, very young people, will avoid certain topics, and then they'll say maybe this is the guys who were doing maybe forex trading, maybe guys in stock market, accountants and whatnot, but they fail to understand that the minute inflation hits, the minute last time I checked, it was around 5.64 now currently. The minute February clocks in and then inflation rises to maybe 7%, we will all feel it, whether or not you do trading, whether or not you're an accountant.
Whichever business you do.
Yes, provided you need to buy something from a shop, from the supermarket, we are all feeling this inflation.
But like you said, and I really do agree, the prices of the basic stuff that we use have really gone up a little bit. Not even some double, some triple. Yeah. But we can still afford these things.
Yes.
Of course, matchbox was 2 shillings when I was growing up as a kid in the village. It's 5 bob right now. Yeah. I have matchbox.
We still can't afford it. Yeah. I think it's all in, like, for now the experts, they understand why inflation will still be there. At the same time, it is going to be in a way that even the poorest of the poorest in the country are still going to afford that matchbox. Take the example you're giving us. When you were a child, the matchbox was 2 shillings. Now you've grown up, matchbox is 5 shillings. You can still afford the matchbox. When inflation hits, the government set it such that employers are now supposed to increase our pay. So that we are able to survive within this, despite the inflation and whatnot. So you'll still be able to afford what you're affording.
Your
only
basics.
that your basics, exactly. Only that you tend to realize that if in the past you used to take like a cup of tea with 2 sugars, now you have to take 1. That is like inflation is set such that you're still supposed to be able to afford what you need. Above the luxury and whatnot, it's going to be a problem. That's why the gap between the rich and the poor will constantly be on the rise. Inflation favors some, it's a disadvantage for some. But at the end of it all, our government is set such that everyone will still be able to afford the basic needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it favors some.
Yes.
And of course, it actually works to the disadvantage of very many people at the same time. Then this actually means that there's one moment when there is no inflation, but we don't know as ordinary youths. Only the people who actually make these decisions, the people in power, the people running the expenditure and all that, they know.
Yes,
they take advantage of this.
Yes, they do. They of course. I mean, remember, okay, most recent example was the price of fuel. A few before the funny thing, people tend to realize the cost of living when elections are due.
Yeah.
Now that elections are coming in August, we all have we can hear the youth talking about who to elect, who not to elect, and the most common example they're going to see is the price of fuel, because the price of fuel affects everything. So you have to go from one point to another, then it affects the transport. The food you're buying was brought to you because of fuel. So it's a bit encouraging to see the youth talking about inflation, the economy, and elections with regards to that. But okay, the most common example I was talking about was the price of fuel. It got to a point where it was so high, up to 124. I think. And you'd hear the youth quoting the prices of fuel 5 years back. They were quoting less digits, like 94 or something.
94,
so they were like...
During Kibaki's administration.
True. Now they are saying during Uhuru's administration, then the inflation rate, everything was extremely expensive. What they fail to understand is that life will continue being expensive. It is inevitable for life to continue being. Because when you check our graphs, despite we have despite moments or years where we have high inflation, low inflation, the overall trend is that it will continue to grow. It will continue to grow. It's just that now people have to understand that and find a way to maneuver despite the growth. So people who benefit know how to do that. People who don't benefit don't know how to do that. And most of our youth don't know how to. So we'll blame the government, we'll blame the government, our leaders, failing to understand that when inflation rises, still has some benefits. It still has some benefits, only that the disadvantages outweigh the benefits. But it still has some, because it's there for a reason at the end of the day. It's there for a reason.
So basically, at one moment, we have to ensure that if you are poor, or if you're living below the dollar, you continue living below the dollar, but you're comfortable. And that's a very dangerous place to be. Right now, I was checking some business news earlier during the day. This lady was explaining how the prices of 4 mangoes is 150 right now. 4 mangoes?
4 mangoes, 150.
It's like
in Nairobi.
4 mangoes. One mango back in the days was like 10 bob.
Exactly. Now, ukienda kwa mama mboga, it's 20 bob, 25. It's crazy. So a lot of Kenyans right now are living below the dollar. Even when you check what you had for breakfast, someone took a cup of tea with 2 mandazis. For mtu wa mtaa, a cup of tea is 10 shillings, 2 mandazis is 20. That is 30 bob for breakfast. Lunch, 50 shillings. Supper, anunue mboga. So we are living below the dollar. But if I think for the youth out there who just want to have a better life, they need to start learning about inflation and how to maneuver it. And how it really affects them. And how to ride the wave to not drown in this wave of inflation. Because as we have said here, it's inevitable. It's only that our government should also play a role and ensure that when it increases, then it's not too much. So a lot of Kenyans suffer. But it's going to increase. It's inevitable. Do you think that where we are right now, as far as this inflation conversation is concerned, was partly influenced by the new generation currencies that were printed the other day? I feel like some people printed a lot. And they took all of it. True. There was you remember when the new currencies came out and the government was saying if you have money, then take it to the bank we all saw the news of how guys had millions of cash in their homes. So actually, part of the reason why these new currencies were brought to the country was to prevent all of that from happening and actually reduce the inflation rate at the time. And it worked. It worked. Only that it's still gradually rising. But I checked compared to December and January, the rates are decreasing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit hopeful. But I'm still personally, and I'm just speaking on my behalf. I still feel as though this new currencies directly affected inflation. I'm yet to understand whether it was in a good way or a bad way. Yeah.
But it did have some impact.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Majority of these people, the young people, have what I could term as fixed earners. They are fixed earners. They have this specific salary, and they tend to really survive on that year in, year out. No bonuses. The working conditions are pretty tough.
True.
And these people, of course, they're feeling the bite as well, pretty bad, because they're being placed in some box, and they should be there almost the rest of their lives. So if I want to do something extra, then I have to go into loans. The Shylocks are really willing to give you money right now with crazy interest. Yeah, so I think as far as the government should actually try to make sure that the youths are very comfortable, then we should also be speaking about regulating these people who are giving out loans out here, who are not from the bank. They're just people out here with money. It's like you holding maize during rainy season, so that you can sell it during with at your own price now. It's one gorogoro ni 300. Mimi ndo niko na mahindi pekee, you'll buy at the end of the day. So we should take care of these people as well.
But that's the thing. Should they be regulated?
They should be regulated.
Why?
I think so, because now if I give you you ain't going to take money from the bank as a loan, because you don't have anything to give the bank.
Plus, banks don't really favor the youth as far as giving loans.
So the youth are going to download the applications, and the interest on these things are crazy. Yes. So that's it. Crazy. So when you pay this, you can't even pay sometimes. Or you're just working to pay.
You see, at this point, it's true. You're just working to pay the bills and pay loans that you taken over the month and whatnot. But okay, look at it from a business perspective. From a business perspective, you're like, I'm still doing my job at the end of the day. So
but
why
you're doing your job to pay a loan.
Like, look, assuming that I'm a Shylock. Assuming that I am a Shylock. Now, if the business is mine, if my business is loaning out money, then if inflation continues to rise and people continue to become poor, then the better. Because it means more people. Yeah, it works for me. And that's the same energy that banks have. That's why I'm saying regulating the Shylocks is not going to do much. It's really not going to. It really boils down to the youth trying to understand how to survive in this current situation. Because if they don't, we'll continue singing Serikali's idea, Serikali regulate, and we know. So
you are actually, or you are against regulating the
I'm not
Shylocks.
okay. They should be regulated, yes, but that shouldn't be decreased, true. But that shouldn't be the only solution we are going to use. I'm assuming there are many ways to skin a cat. So if the youth manage to ride this wave of inflation, and the Shylocks are regulated and whatnot, you find that this youth, if previously they were just working to pay bills and pay loans, now they have extra money maybe to go out, being February and whatnot. So that in itself could be an improvement of a living standard, because at the end of the day, you're trying to work to have a better life. So if you can afford to, after you've understood what inflation is and the impact it has and how you can benefit from it, then it's going to be easier for you to get money and manage the money you use. So you'll realize that if last month I took a loan of 50K, then this month was 40K. The loan I took out was 40K. So the interest I paid could be 5K, 10K, or whatever. So eventually with time, you tend to, our youth, we will learn how to take less loans and actually work with what we have.
So the point is us getting to understand how this thing affects us and how we can maneuver our way around it.
And not about regulating, because I feel as though for the longest time we have been telling the government to regulate this, reduce that, blah, blah, and they can only do so much, because at the end of the day, we'll still want our roads to be made. Where is this money coming from, if not the interest rates? So you really can't cut off that head completely.
You can't shut someone else's business. So that someone can survive somewhere else.
So both of us both parties need to survive at the end of it all.
You just find the balance.
Yeah, you need to find, we as youth just need to find the balance.
Because you're already against regulation, and my second question was about regulating international trade. So I'm not going to talk about it. But I also feel like I should talk about it because I know I've seen it happening. I've seen it happening because sometimes we do export fake products, especially alcohol. Of course, the tea and all that. What we export out, most of it is not really legit. Yeah. Some are already expired, some already fake and all that. I know the KRA will be dealing with this right now, but for us to really have a nice economy and stable and clean and no corruption and all that, then we should also get to regulate and check what is going out. And this is for KRA, this is for KEBS, and everybody who is concerned about
now, that. Now, when you put it like that, then I'm 100% for regulating and whatnot. But then, think about it. It really just boils down to the person.
No way?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's a human being who is exporting these things knowing that this is, bad quality. Yeah. It's at the end of the day, it's one person who is a group of people who are making these policies. I'm agreeing to export this and this, knowing very well it's harming the economy. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is that we have gotten to a place where it's a man-eat-man society. Oh, yeah? We have seen other countries outside here in Africa whom started out this way, and wherever their economies are right now, it's devastating because there are other countries with inflation rates up to 15%. Yeah. Now that is crazy. So it really just boils down to, it's not as if they don't have policies. A
country like Nigeria with at the top as far as GDP is concerned, but the inflation rate is still double digits.
And speaking of Nigeria, now see how the rich are actually very, very rich, and the poor are extremely poor. Now, if we as a people, we as a youth, and we as a country don't handle this matter right now, then that's where you're going to.
And we are going to have money in Nairobi.
True. Only in Nairobi. Someone was actually arguing that Nairobi has been developed enough. This person was arguing that if they can, maybe they start thinking about having another capital city besides Nairobi.
Makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense because this person was arguing that all the developments, all the promises this government has, they're just centered in Nairobi. What about the youth in Nakuru? What about so it's the government has a role to play, yes, but it really just boils down to us as a youth and people who make the policies, people should just be better. But it's not going to happen. That is like an ideal society. That is what is happening in Sweden and whatnot. And I mean, we're Kenyans at the end of the day. We are a man-each-man society. There is no way you're going to tell someone. Picture this, for example. Right now, fuel prices are still high. They're not where you should be. They're not, yes, but they're still high. You go into a matatu, utaambiwa upenane huko nyuma. This matatu, yes. Exactly. Very fast. Unaambiwa ushuke jugari si yako at the end of the day. So you complain, unaambiwa ushuke. If you don't complain, mnajazwa 14 seater has like 25 people, has like 20 whatnot. It's not as if ni rush hour. It's lunchtime. Lunchtime, what are you doing? So our watu wanajazana hivyo. It really just boils down to that. Because they're trying to make more money because their living standards is high. They will back it up with fuel prices are still high.
Everybody's complaining.
Everyone is complaining.
The farmers are complaining about fertilizer prices, the fuel, the people in the whichever business you are in right now.
So there is no way mimi ifinyoka matatu and nikiambiwa fuel prices are high and then I go on to do my job and then I'm trying to become, philanthropic let us not export these things.
So ukiwa overcharged kwa matatu, then you're also going to overcharge someone else.
So it's like a domino effect. The minute maybe the government will initiate and ensure that the policies you are actually talking about expectations, the KRA and whatnot, they should be in place and should actually be checked. I feel as though if it is handled from there, then it's going to be easier for a youth mtaani aseme hapana,
and it's going to make it even easier for the money to spread outside the capital city now to of course the other counties.
Yes,
it's very nice. But I also feel like population is really driving this thing crazy because we don't have money, but we're still giving birth. It's crazy. That's the best thing we can do.
Have you seen guys in low social economic class? These guys are giving birth to kids. I don't know because of boredom or what, but they're stairs. They're not bored.
They're just living life and living. So
they're doing God's will.
Yeah. How do we tell people to stop? I don't want to say stop making babies and all.
Stop making babies when you're poor.
How many
How many
because
will?
I feel like the way China did it, you know, maybe you're not supposed to have more than this number of kids. Should that also be here now? For the young people especially.
For the young people. I don't want us to get there, but I feel as though when you talk to young people, they are more woke. They know that there is no point in giving birth while being in a, you know, tricky financial situation. So I feel as though maybe our generation will do it better as far as controlling the population is concerned. Funny you mentioned this, because in a recent statistic, this group was worried that our current generation are less intent on having children. So when they were doing projections in future, they were like, maybe at one point we'll have to import labor.
Oh, because these young people are not going to have...
they're not going, they're not interested.
Going to give us the labor.
They're not interested in providing labor for Kenya, but that is like years, that is like 50, 100 years from now, not right now. That is the situation where countries like Germany are in right now. These Nordic countries, they're actually actively importing labor because of that. And when you check, their economy is obviously much better than Kenya. It's much, much better. So, I don't know, it really just boils down to educating the youth. Like, there's no point in siring children right now if you don't have the money for it. But so ukienda kuambia mtu pale, you know, reserve, usizae, this person grew up...
because maybe they don't know even what that inflation you're talking about is that.
They don't know
your inflation na mimi kuzaa zinaingia.
Najua tu siku hizi maisha ni ngumu, but they don't understand if they continue giving birth, then they're making it harder for their kids in future.
That's why that 16.9% who are not in training, not in education and all that, they should actually be the people driving this.
True.
If we really speak with them. Before I let you go, Brenda, of course, we have dirty money, corruption. Dirty money is crazy right now.
Crazy. Wash. Money laundering is huge.
Yeah.
And trust you me, it's I don't want to say that it's not going to come to an end because I may seem pessimistic, but let us be realistic here for a minute. Right now, off camera and whatnot, ukienda pale mtaani and then you ask someone, you hint at someone at getting quick money in another way, they're very eager to jump on that.
They want to find out. They're
very, very eager to do whatever it takes because at the end of the day, life is hard because of what? Inflation. So dirty money is here to stay until something changes.
Until something changes.
Yes.
Okay. How about non-productive expenditure? Like this one, the government puts aside money for this, but this thing is not giving us money back.
So
let's say the army. Of course, they are defending the nation and all that, but it's not a business. It's not a business. But we have a very huge part of
a huge budget for
even the recent budget that President Kenyatta really gave out the other day, the supplementary budget. We have a lot of money set aside for non-productive expenditure. Something that you just have to put money in there, but it's going to give you money back.
Elections are coming. I heard that the president,
one of the hugest,
40 billion.
Yeah, 40 billion. Yeah.
Yes, in August. That in itself is not giving us money.
And we're not going to get money from that.
If anything, then these politicians are going to elect are just going to steal more money from us. I think that just boils down to the government.
Okay.
Now it's up to our leaders for them to be philanthropic enough to say, enyewe out while in elect, let me help them here. You know, until someone philanthropic enough, someone who actually cares for the people, is in power, then we are in for a very rough ride.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be crazy.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you too.
See you all next time. So I guess by now you really understand what inflation is and how it really affects you. And like Brenda said, it's just about you trying to really get to maneuver your way around. Nobody's coming to really pick you out from that because the government doesn't really care much. They only care about putting aside 40 billion for the election. But that is a non-expenditure amount. So just get to learn, research, listen to Calebkoyo, watch Caleb TV. You're going to really find some of this information interesting. I'm Calebkoyo.